Tune in live Sundays 8 a.m. Central Standard Time and Sundays 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
These are Lawin headlines for this week. Texans receive some of the largest tax refunds in the country, study finds. Spurs face off with Gino Ortiz-Jones in soccer fee dispute. Alabama schedules nitrogen gas execution for robbery convict. Zaldi County nabbed in Prague, confirms Bongbong Marcos. Business minds to gather for PACCTX bootcamp on April 25th. Victoria Beckham defends approach to parenting amid Sun-Brooklyn rift.
Good day, I am Neska, and tonight we bring you the latest stories in the United States of America, especially in the state of Texas. So sit back, relax, and let Lawin Weekly News be your guide to the news that matters most. A new study based on Internal Revenue Service data shows Texas recorded the second highest average tax refund in the U.S. this year. According to financial site Upgraded Points, the national average refund is nearly $3,600, while Texas averages $4,344, second only to Florida. More than 13.6 million tax returns were filed in Texas, with over 71% resulting in refunds. Shackleford County posted the highest average refund in the state at $7,375. The study notes that higher income earners significantly boosted averages, with those making over $200,000 receiving refunds exceeding $100,000 on average. The IRS also reminded taxpayers that late filings may face penalties of up to 25% of unpaid taxes. Texas officials have unveiled a draft state water plan projecting $174 billion in investments over the next 50 years to address growing water shortages. The Texas Water Development Board says the plan includes thousands of projects focused on infrastructure, conservation, and new water sources, as drought conditions push some South Texas reservoirs below 10% capacity. Costs have more than doubled from the previous estimate, driven by inflation, project delays, and expanded long-term planning through 2080. Among the proposals is a $10 billion pipeline to move water from the Toledo Bend Reservoir to North Texas, along with increased use of desalination and groundwater treatment. Officials say conservation and water reuse will make up about 40% of future supply strategies. Governor Greg Abbott warned the state could step in if local conditions worsen, as communities like Corpus Christi continue to face severe shortages and water use restrictions. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has filed a lawsuit against the city of Houston, including Mayor John Whitmire, over a newly approved immigration ordinance. The measure, which took effect April 8th, ended a policy requiring police to wait up to 30 minutes for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement to take custody of individuals with immigration warrants. Paxton argues the ordinance violates state law, including Senate Bill 4, which bars local limits on federal immigration enforcement. The lawsuit seeks to overturn the measure and protect officers who cooperate with federal authorities. Whitmire criticized the legal challenge, saying it diverts resources from public safety. Meanwhile, Governor Greg Abbott has warned the state could withhold funding if the ordinance remains in place. The number of alcohol consumers has dropped to its lowest level in 90 years. contributing to declining wine sales and an estimated $67 million to $70 million economic loss in Houston. Industry officials said, citing recent data on shifting consumer behavior. Figures from the Texas Restaurant Association and Silicon Valley Bank showed the wine market declined by about $1.3 billion in 2025, while sales in Houston and Harris County fell by approximately 3.4%. Antonio Gianola, a manager at Houston Wine Merchants, said the store continues to receive weekly deliveries, but orders now reflect changes in demand. Joe Monastero, Chief Revenue Officer of the Texas Restaurant Association, said younger consumers are driving much of the decline, noting that about 25% of Generation Z reports drinking alcohol, a lower rate than Generation X and Millennials. Monastero said reduced demand has created an oversupply of wine, particularly in lower priced categories, affecting businesses across the industry. Brandon Kearney of the Texas Wine School said demand remains for higher end wines despite the broader downturn, with some consumers continuing to purchase premium bottles for storage or special occasions. Kearney said producers face challenges because wine production is planned years in advance, limiting their ability to adjust quickly to changes in consumption patterns. Industry officials said they are continuing to monitor trends as businesses adapt to evolving consumer preferences.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious moments. From elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits, I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today and let's create magic together.
Mayor Kirk Watson and city officials are weighing budget cuts that could impact programs serving low income families, people experiencing homelessness, and survivors of abuse. A draft budget released Thursday is based on a new or no new revenue tax rate and includes about $17 million in potential cuts to social service contracts affecting housing, workforce development, and an adult education programs. Despite the cuts, the plan sets aside funding for public safety, including $30 million for personnel costs, along with support for an emergency shelter and additional firefighters. City leaders say the proposal aims to balance affordability concerns while limiting tax increases. The budget remains under review, with final approval expected in August following public input. City leaders are debating a proposal that would restrict unpermitted street vendors from distributing free food to people experiencing homelessness. The measure would allow the city to regulate where and how often food drives take place, while requiring groups to follow safety rules such as using gloves and hand sanitizer. Officials say the proposal addresses sanitation and cleanup concerns tied to large gatherings. But some council members raised questions about the scope of the rules and potential legal challenges, particularly from faith based groups that regularly organize outreach events. Others said existing food safety laws may already cover those concerns. The Dallas City Council is expected to continue discussions before a final vote. Mayor Gina Ortiz Jones is pushing to collect a $5 million payment from Spurs Sports and Entertainment tied to a failed bid to bring Major League Soccer to the city. Under a 2015 agreement, the Spurs parent company was required to reimburse public funds used for a soccer stadium if it did not secure an MLS franchise. Officials say only $250,000 has been paid so far, with no additional payments since 2021. The organization previously argued it had no realistic path to an MLS team, citing the establishment of Austin FC in the region. Ortiz Jones has called for enforcement of the agreement as city and county leaders continue discussions on next steps. Governor Kay Ivey has set a June 11 execution date for death row inmate Jeffrey James Lee, convicted in 1998 double murder during a pawn shop robbery. The move comes as Lee challenges Alabama's use of nitrogen gas executions, arguing the method violates the constitutional ban on cruel and unusual punishment. A federal trial on the issue is set for April 27. Lee was sentenced to death after a judge overrode a jury recommendation for life imprisonment, a practice Alabama abolished in 2017. The state began using nitrogen gas as an execution method in 2024.
Join us for a captivating new series where Lawin sits down with the trailblazers of the music and entertainment world. Discover the stories behind the faces and voices that shape our culture and community.
We will bring you exclusive interviews with industry legends and rising stars. Behind the scenes insights and get a peek into the creative processes and personal journeys. Artists and performers and their upcoming shows and events.
Stay tuned for more updates and sneak peeks. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our channel.
US President Donald Trump said Pope Leo XIV is free to speak on global issues but should understand the realities of what he called a nasty world. The remarks come amid an ongoing exchange between the two over Iran and immigration policy. The Pope has criticized threats of military action, saying he has a moral duty to speak out against war. Trump, who previously called the pontiff weak and wrong, said he is not in conflict with him, adding he has nothing against the Pope. The back and forth highlights growing tensions between Washington and the Vatican on international security and humanitarian concerns. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. confirmed that former lawmaker Zaldi Co. has been arrested in Prague after entering the Czech Republic without proper documentation. Marcos and Co. is currently detained as Philippine authorities coordinate with foreign counterparts for his return. Co. faces a warrant from the Sandigan Bayan over alleged graft and malversation tied to a 289.5 million peso flood control project in Oriental Mindoro. The case also involves several officials from the Department of Public Works and Highways and a private contractor. Authorities say Co left the country in July before the investigation began. The Philippine National Police is now preparing for his possible repatriation. Indonesia's Attorney General's office has arrested newly appointed Chief Ombudsman Harry Santo on bribery allegations, just 5 days after his appointment by President Prabowo Subianto. Authorities say Susanto was taken into custody at his home and is accused of accepting 1.5 billion rupiah, or about $88,000, from a nickel company during a previous post. He has not issued a statement and could face prison time if convicted. Indonesia, the world's top nickel producer, plays a key role in supplying materials used for electric vehicle batteries and stainless steel. Entrepreneurs and aspiring business owners will gather on April 25th this year for the PACCTX Entrepreneur Bootcamp at Town Square, NW Austin, a one-day event focused on starting and scaling businesses. The program will feature expert-led sessions covering legal structures, asset protection, immigration basics, and the use of artificial intelligence in business growth. Speakers include attorneys and business consultants who will also discuss common startup challenges and strategies for long-term success. Organizers say the boot camp is designed not only as a learning platform, but also as a networking opportunity for entrepreneurs to connect with industry leaders and peers. Registration is now open for interested participants. The Philippine Consulate General is urging Filipino and Filipino American organizations, businesses, and professional groups to register or update their information in its official community directories. The initiative covers Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas, and aims to strengthen coordination and visibility across the Filipino diaspora. Officials say the directories help promote collaboration, improve access to consular programs, and connect community groups with services and opportunities. Organizations are encouraged to verify existing listings or submit new registrations through the consulate's website or QR code. The consulate says maintaining updated records will help build a stronger and more connected Filipino community across its jurisdiction.
For divorce and family law in Texas, Liggett Dizon Law Firm PC will guide you every step of the way.
From initial consultation to detailed review of your case and strategic planning.
We'll sit with you during negotiations or mediations, and represent you in court.
Whether it is a family law, estate planning, or immigration, we will be there to guide through the final steps.
So, leave your legal matters behind you and embrace your future.
You can contact Liggett Dizon Law Firm PC at 346-5454-346 or visit dizonlawfirm.com.
Former NBA player and assistant coach Damon Jones is expected to plead guilty to federal sports gambling charges in a betting scandal involving alleged insider information on league games. Federal prosecutors say Jones, 49 years old, shared non-public details on player injuries and absences between December 2022 and March 2024, including advance information that LeBron James would miss a game due to injury before it was publicly announced. Court filings show Jones is set to change his plea at an April 28 hearing in New York, becoming the first of 6 defendants in the case to do so. He also faces separate charges tied to an alleged illegal poker operation involving rigged games and organized crime links, which he has denied. Jones played 11 seasons in the NBA and later worked as an assistant coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Philippine Olympic Committee said 101 Filipino athletes will compete in the 6th Asian Beach Games scheduled from April 22nd to 30th in Sanya, China. POC President Abraham Tolentino said preparations for the Philippine delegation have been completed, with athletes set for both the opening and closing ceremonies of the continental competition. Tolentino said the Philippines is also preparing for the handover of hosting rights for the 2028 Asian Beach Games during the closing ceremony in Sanya, where the event flag will be turned over to representatives of Cebu, the designated host for the next edition. The delegation is supported by the Philippine Olympic Committee and the Philippine Sports Commission. Jiu-Jitsu athletes Annie Ramirez and Kyla Napolis will lead the Philippine campaign in the competition. Victoria Beckham says she and her husband are focused on protecting their children amid renewed attention on reported family tensions involving their eldest son, Brooklyn Beckham. Brooklyn Beckham, 27 years old, previously posted on social media alleging strained relations with his parents, David Beckham and Victoria Beckham, and claimed they tried to interfere in his relationship and marriage to Nicola Peltz Beckham. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Victoria Beckham said the couple has always tried to be the best parents they can be and emphasized navigating relationships with adult children in the public eye. David Beckham has not directly responded to the allegations. Actor Enchong D has accused Air Force or Air France of alleged racial discrimination after he said his ticket was blocked during a Europe trip, forcing him to reroute his travel. In now expired Instagram post, D said airline staff in Bangkok prevented him from boarding his scheduled flight without explanation and later warned that his Schengen visa could be revoked. He said he purchased a new ticket with Etihad Airways to continue his trip, traveling through London before reaching Paris. D added that he had already been issued a boarding pass for a separate leg of his journey when the issue occurred. Air France has not issued a public response to the allegation. As we brace ourselves for the upcoming weather changes, let's dive into what you can expect day by day. Whether you're planning outdoor activities or just preparing for the week, we've got you covered with the most accurate forecast. Stay tuned with us as we take a closer look at the weather patterns that will impact our region. Remember, here at Lawin Weekly News, we bring you the clearest skies to the stormiest forecasts.
Here is your Lawin Weekly News weather forecast in Houston, Texas. On April 19th, Sunday, the temperature peaks around 82 degrees Fahrenheit and dips to 70 degrees Fahrenheit at night. Partly cloudy with warm and humid conditions. On April 20th, Monday, the highest temperature is 84 degrees Fahrenheit with a low of 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Mostly sunny throughout the afternoon. On April 21st, Tuesday, the temperature reaches 85 degrees Fahrenheit and falls to 72 degrees Fahrenheit at night. Partly cloudy with a slight chance of afternoon showers. On April 22nd, Wednesday, the high is around 83 degrees Fahrenheit with a low of 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Cloudy with scattered rain showers. On April 23rd, Thursday, the temperature peaks near 82 degrees Fahrenheit and dips to 69 degrees Fahrenheit. Rainy with possible thunderstorms developing later in the day. On April 24th, Friday, the highest temperature is 81 degrees Fahrenheit with a low of 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Mostly cloudy with lingering showers. On April 25th, Saturday, the temperature reaches 83 degrees Fahrenheit and drops to 69 degrees Fahrenheit at night. Partly sunny with improving weather conditions.
So those were the latest stories in Texas this week. I am Nesca Santina from Lawin Media Network. Have a great day.
Lawin Weekly News.
Tune in live Sundays 8 a.m. Central Standard Time and Sundays 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Lawin Weekly News.